Otumfo, Nananom, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to be here today, and I bring congratulations to Otumfo on his Silver Jubilee from my university in Scotland, Glasgow University, of which Otumfo is an honorary graduate. I have been asked to say a few words about the book Images of Ghana. It was a great honor for me to be invited to give the BOBOFOUR Memorial Lectures just before COVID at KNUST. The fact that the book exists at all is entirely due to Ajagurajah, who took the typescript and turned them into a book. I am very grateful to him. Thank you, Iva. There are three parts to the book. The first deals with how the Asante have been depicted in exhibitions, reconstructions, and events since the 1880s. One key event was the creation by Robert Rattray of an Asante village at the Great Empire Exhibition at Wembley in 1924 and 1925. The village became the home to a number of Asante, and millions of people saw them and saw that exhibition. Another major exhibition was Asante Kingdom of Gold at the British Museum and subsequently in New York. More recently, there was a major exhibition, as you will have heard, at the Dallas Museum of Art, opened by the MAAME, and Otumfo wrote an introduction to the book that accompanied that exhibition. There have been in many parts of the world many other exhibitions about Asante. The sad thing, the terrible thing, is they were all organized by outsiders. I hope that the next one will be created by Asante scholars. The third section of the book deals with future developments in museums. Some of the things I suggested then are already occurring. For example, museums are scanning objects in their collections and sending the computer code to people outside the museum in any part of the world who have access to a three-dimensional printer. Those people can use the code to make a replica of the museum object. This will open up museums in unprecedented ways. The middle section of the book deals with the contentious and complex matter of restitution. When I wrote it, I could not have imagined that we would be here today celebrating the homecoming of material looted in the 19th century. These things have come back because of the initiative, the persistence, and the diplomacy of Otumfo. But as you have heard, the relationship between the British Museum and Asanteman goes back a long way. In 1974, Asantehene Opokuwari II wrote to the British Museum asking for the return of material taken away in the Sarkodie War. I came to Kumasi and explained that due to the laws which govern the activity of the British Museum, permanent removal of items from the collection is not possible. But the British Museum wanted to work in any ways open to it to form a constructive relationship with the Golden Stool. That pact was made. One result was the exhibition, Asante Kingdom of Gold, which was opened by Asantehene Opokuwari II in London and then in New York. There were joint training programs created for museum curators, and we participated in the creation of the museum here. That was a start. Restitution, which we celebrate today, is important. Of course it is. But it should not be an end in itself. If it is treated just as something that must be done, and that is the end of it, we have wasted a great opportunity. I believe that restitution should be the starting point for the creation of new and much stronger relationships between museums. There are huge disparities between the wealth and power of major museums in Europe and North America and those in countries which wish to have their material returned. This disparity must be decreased. It is now time for those richer museums to contribute to the growth of less wealthy museums. In my book, I suggest various ways in which this can be done. Firstly, each museum should treat the other as an equal, not as a superior and an inferior. Equality is essential. I believe there are simple things that can be done to improve the situation. For example, staff from each museum should be exchanged and work in the other museum, not just for 3 or 4 weeks, but for a year at least. This way they will learn about the problems, techniques, needs of the other museum and will share knowledge. Secondly, I think it is time for the richer museums to actively seek to obtain funds specifically to help museums overseas. As a former museum director, I know very well no museum ever has enough money for all it wants to do. But it is up to rich museums to actively seek out sources of funds to support their partner museums. I make other suggestions. All that is for the future. Meanwhile, today, let us celebrate what has been achieved, the homecoming of these precious objects. What seemed inconceivable only 2 years ago has now happened. Thank you, Tumfo, Madasi Pi. Thank you.